Welcome to today's episode of the Strong for Life podcast. I love doing these client interviews and getting them to share more about their experience in my online program, the Strong for Life Blueprint. And if you are someone who wants to learn how to get strong, lean, and pain-free without wasting hours at the gym each week, and you want to learn more about how my online coaching program works, feel free to click the link in the About section of this podcast. Or you can also go to the link and website conoro'sheafitness.com/contact, and that's going to allow you to fill out a coaching application form. So that's conoro'sheafitness.com/contact, CONOROSHEA fitness.com/contact. So without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. Welcome to the Strong for Life podcast. I'm your host, Conor O'Shea, and today I'm joined by my client, Dave. Myself and Dave have been working together for almost 2 years online now, and he's gotten some amazing results over the last 2 years. So, Dave, thanks for taking time out of your evening. And why don't we start with a bit about yourself, who you are, where you're based, all of those things.
Yep. So I'm a 56-year-old based in Melbourne. Been playing basketball for a few years and then got a few injuries from that, which I'm carrying along. Pretty fit though, otherwise I would say. Active, eat well, probably drink a little bit too much, but you know, it's been a tough time in Melbourne, so yeah. I'm not beating myself up about it. Just trying to moderate that a bit and just keep the the activity to manage the injuries, I guess.
Yeah. So let's jump into maybe where you were at 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago now. Can you maybe paint a picture about what was going on, how you felt, the position you were in?
So we had several months in lockdown for the first winter of our, pandemic response in Victoria. And that was a lot of sitting around and, every night, pretty much the same thing, 7 days a week. 1 hour outside was allowed for activity, and apart from that, you're stuck in the house or the backyard, the front yard, whatever, if you're lucky enough to have one. So I wasn't in the best physical shape after that. There was way too much drinking going on all winter. I think I wouldn't be alone in that, in the Victorian experience. And then on top of carrying a few sort of niggly injuries, I was just coming to the realization that things had to change for the better. So I had too much weight around the middle, had a sore lower back, had two sore shoulders, which were injuries from basketball, which were making it difficult to sleep. So all in all, it wasn't a great scenario.
Yeah, so you had the basketball injuries, the shoulders, the ankle, and then obviously, as you were saying, like COVID, you're talking whatever, March until July, August, so probably 4 or 5 months.
Could have even been longer. I think I got in touch with you in September.
Yeah, it was actually, you're correct. Yeah, so it would have been 6 months of this kind of, really stressful and, drinking, not moving a lot, lockdown. And for people listening, like Melbourne was the most lockdown city in the world, if I'm correct, right? Yeah. So,
and also, being a professional worker, that was just computer work at the desk at home, and it wasn't a well set up desk. So there was all of that compounding into poor posture for 8 hours a day, 1 hour outside, and then dinner and Netflix and off to bed and repeat. Boring.
Yeah, so you could kind of see the writing was on the wall, the direction things were going in. And I guess, when you were kind of thinking about making that decision to reach out or to do something, what were you skeptical about or maybe worried about, or like, it's an online program in particular. So can you maybe talk to people about how you were feeling around that point, around being skeptical?
Well, I guess what my skepticism would have been, is it actually going to work for me? I had trained with you before when you worked at the local gym here. So I did have that personal relationship, although it was some years earlier. But I knew what you were about and, what you sort of treated as important, which resonated well with me. So I was pretty confident there. And it was really just whether I was going to have the equipment in the house that was going to get me where we want it to be, and I guess whether I would require, someone pretty much getting me out of bed and getting me working every day, which turned out not to be the case. I was motivated enough to get it, happening. But that would be it, really.
Okay. So yeah,
I would. Sorry, cut you off, Connor. I'd say that if people don't know who you are, and that might be an area where there could be some skepticism, like, we've got this guy in another country telling me he's going to do these wonderful things. Is it actually going to happen for me?
Yeah. Yeah, you made a good point as well. Sorry, go on.
If you stick to the program, it will happen. It will happen for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you made a good point as well about the, I guess that's a big thing that people kind of are worried about, maybe, is if there's not a trainer waiting for them at the gym or outside their house, like, are they gonna do it? So that's definitely can be a thing as well. So let's maybe talk about your breakthrough. That's September 2020. There's a lot of weight. And then at what point on that journey were you like, okay, this is actually really starting to work for me?
Well, I guess one of the, you put together the program of exercise, but there's also that, let's have a look at what you're eating and drinking, the nutrition side. And, you said there's way too much carbs here and you need to cut that back. And because one of the things we wanted to do was get some of the weight off. I think I don't know, might have even got over 100 kilos, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm normally about 91. So there was a lot of extra weight being carried. Mm-hmm. And you said, okay, that's fine. That's a good goal. You've got to change your diet. So we made quite an effort to reduce those carbs and get more protein happening.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't too hard. It's a bit of a shock at first, but, just cut out the bowls of rice and so on. But we got it done, and we got that weight came off pretty quick, which I was very happy about. The other breakthrough was you straight away got to work on the lower back so that I didn't have so much pain all the time. And you gave me a set of tools so that, if something started happening, I knew which set of exercises we go to work on and stretches and so on, and stretch it out. And once that stretching became a regular thing, that was it for the back pain. Goodbye. So I was really happy about that. So then I was, more mobile, able to get out of bed without pain, which is a good feeling for someone who's not used to it.
Yeah.
It's a big difference how you approach the start of the day. So that was good. And then I think we started working on the shoulders, strengthening those. And that to tell you the truth, it was a fairly small amount of work we had to do on them to, to get them strengthened up enough so that those injuries were no longer a problem, and I could get good night's sleep as well, which is quite helpful.
Yeah, it's huge. Do you want to talk maybe around timelines? So the back pain, how long did that started? How many weeks or months were you like feeling really good and even that was gone? And also the shoulders and the weight.
Yeah, so timelines for the back pain was possibly only maybe a month to 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
See you later. To be completely history, and even less than that to feel that it was, moving in the right direction. So almost immediately, really. And
like 2 years later, how's the back pain now?
It's the same. It's gone. And if I do start to feel it tighten up, I have a bit more awareness about where that's coming from, whether it's quads or hammies or glutes or whatever tightening up. I can stretch them out and loosen up that lower back almost straight away.
Amazing. And then the weight loss?
Weight loss went down. I think I got to 85 at one point, which I was pretty happy about. I felt quite good at that, but I found that a bit hard to maintain. So now we're back to about 87 to 90, I would say. So still a long way off where I was when I started, but just a bit below where I probably normally sort of sit anyway, around 91 kilos, that is. I think I would like to get down to that sort of 85 from 87, but it's just a hell of a lot of work to maintain it.
Gotcha. And you were kind of high 90s, even 100 at the start?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then
Yeah,
shoulder wise, how long did that take?
I think that took a bit longer.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember. It was a while ago now, because it did happen in those first few months.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been, a year and a half ago that it was fixed.
Yeah.
And since then, I've still been playing basketball, hasn't been really injured. Been sailing and working the winches and heaving on the halyards and so on. And there's no dramas there anymore.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, back pain, dropping the body fat in particular, shoulders back in a great place. So you're actually sleeping, all of these benefits. And then you're also, maybe talk more about the results you're doing now, because you're doing some pretty impressive stuff on the rings with your upper body. Do you want to maybe go into more details about the things that you're able to do now?
Yeah, sure. I think my upper body was always pretty weak compared to like the overall. Like my shoulders are quite broad, my arms are quite long. Wasn't a lot of strength there. It's probably just enough to get by. So we're now doing a lot of ring work. I'd say it's a lot. Things like a lot of hanging, a lot of top position, a lot of chin ups and so on, and some push ups on the rings and mountain climber on the rings. And it's made the core is a lot stronger, and core's a lot stronger. What else are we doing? Yeah, and it's basically it's really made the entire body above the hips, I guess, is a lot leaner and much stronger, which is kind of a good feeling. Pretty happy with the way it appears. We get an occasional good comment, which is nice. Reinforces let's keep doing this.
Yeah.
You have to buy a whole bunch of new pants because, the 100-kilo pants are no longer just look like a farm boy when I try to do the belt up,
Yeah.
Which is
That's
fine.
brilliant.
I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
So literally gone down to like a 32 from a 36.
Wow.
So that's quite a bit.
That's huge, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
And
yeah,
I guess, and I mean, having that extra strength in the core and upper body means that if I need to bend over and pick up a box that's 15, 20 kilos or something, it's fine to do that now. Whereas before, when I started even just getting up off, you'd kneel down to pull some weeds out of the garden or something, get up, and it was a groaning type situation. It was an old man groan. So much better.
Yeah, that's huge. And because like the sailing is obviously physically demanding. You do like with the bees as well, like that's pretty physical, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So keeping bees, and when there's a box full of bees or a box full of honey, that's pretty heavy. So moving them around and harvesting all the honey out and so on, that's all pretty heavy work.
Yeah, that's great, mate. And let's maybe talk a bit about, to finish off, around who you'd recommend it for, I guess, because like it's definitely not for everyone, like we were kind of talking about before. But I guess maybe start with who do you think the program would be good for, maybe the position they're in, and maybe who mightn't be a good person for the program.
I will. Just one thing though. The other thing was that I wanted to say about results was we did some blood tests early on in the piece because my dad had prostate cancer. So we had a you need to get tested right away type of thing for the whole family. So I went and got some bloods, and they got a whole swag of them and said, we need to retest you in 6 months. So 6 months in, I was expecting, no movement or whatever, but they said cholesterol was way down and a whole bunch of other bloods were a whole lot better. So I think that was the exercise and diet, because pretty much the alcoholic consumption hadn't changed. So it wasn't that. So I think it was, and that was like a good science-based result, not I feel I look better. It's like your cholesterol has dropped and these other markers have also dropped. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that's amazing. I guess the great thing about the results you're sharing is it's all like quality of life markers have gone up dramatically. You know, you're sleeping
Mm.
better, you're getting up and down off the ground with no issues. As you said, there's no more old man pains.
Yeah,
You're feeling much more, I guess, strong and capable in your body physically, but then of course the markers medically are in a much better position as well. So yeah, it's awesome, man. It's just great
mm.
to I know we've talked about this over the months, but it's great to hear it all in one go as well. And you should be very proud of yourself with because you've put in the work. I think that's the big thing to realize as well. You know, you've shown up consistently for 2 years, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm sort of a self-motivated person, I guess, when I put my mind to it. And I think that is a sort of, well, that's been, I've been able to get good results based on that. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think I've needed a lot of encouragement from you to, get up and get moving. Occasionally I have, which you have, said doesn't matter, just get on the mat and do something, keep the
Mm-hmm.
habit going. But I think that a person who really wants to get a particular result will work for it. And I think your program will help them get there.
Yeah.
So that person doesn't have to be my age or recovering from an injury or something like that. But definitely, injuries and rehab is a big motivator for people because you want to get over it and get back to your normal life.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, like I was saying to you earlier, I think your program would actually be great for younger people, except that younger people won't listen to you
Yeah,
because,
I wouldn't have listened back when I was
me either.
24.
Who's this guy? I'm not listening to him.
Yeah.
I know better. I saw this guy on YouTube tell me what to do, so I'm doing that. But
Yeah. Because it's
if
got
you can
massive
avoid
arms.
it, yeah, that's right. And all these women following him, so I'm going with him.
Yeah.
But if you can avoid the injuries in the first place and the bad habits, then you're not repairing people, you're maintaining them and strengthening them. That'd be a better way to go. But I recognise there's a lot of people needing repair and rehab and moving beyond, I guess, what rehab is into strengthening them to beyond what they were before.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who's in that situation and wants to go there, I guess, would be a good candidate.
Yeah.
I think they're going to need an amount of motivation of their own because you're not going to be there saying, 2 more reps, 3 more reps. Come on, you can do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then also understanding that, there's a timeline as well, and you don't have to kill yourself every workout to get there.
Yeah, that's such a massive point. You've touched on some really important things there. Like generally, if you're injured, the options are to just, not do anything, allow it to get progressively worse, or, take action in some sort of a program. But also what the point you made about it's not just rehabbing, it's progressing to next steps after that. Like with your shoulders, the stuff you're doing now would have destroyed your shoulders, in the first month or two. But now you're doing really fun things, like you're doing skin the cat, you're doing you're getting upside down, you're able to hold your body weight, you're doing chin ups, you're doing ring dips. These are all pretty advanced movements especially for your age group. But for most people in commercial gyms, they can't do this stuff. So I think that's a really important point about like rehabbing, but then getting to a point where you're actually, you've got autonomy and strength now on those body parts that used to be injured in the past as well.
Yeah. I wish I had done these things when I was like 15 years old because I wouldn't have been injured in the first place then,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had those shoulder injuries, just wouldn't have happened.
Totally. Yeah. Amazing, mate. So any other last words you want to share with people? Again, just thinking about you're talking to maybe a guy who was probably in a similar position to you, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Any words of advice you'd have for that person listening?
Well, I would say that I have got one of those people in mind. And he needs some help to get both his diet and his body back in shape. And for too long, he's put other things before himself. And I kind of had said to him, like, you need to put yourself first. You need to make sure that you're able to do the other things you want to do. And part of that is having a vehicle to move your consciousness around in, and that's your body. If you're not looking after it, you're going to impact all these other areas. So you need to devote a certain amount of time to making sure that You look after your physical joints and systems that give you the capacity to do the things you want to do.
Yeah, it's like that airplane analogy of putting on your own oxygen mask first, and then you can help those around you and be of more value, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can do it for a little while, right? It's like holding your breath. But after a year or two of not putting yourself first, you're starting to pick up on, you're starting to wear damage and wear things out. And it could be mentally or relationship-wise or whatever, but you need to make sure that you devote it enough to maintain yourself.
Yeah. It's a great way to end and great advice, my man. And again, yeah, it's just been awesome seeing you progress. And it's just exciting to see where things are going to be in another year or two with your progress, with your training, and all those things. So really appreciate you taking time out of your evening, mate. And yeah,